in the lower bracket here for APAC Playoffs. One of these two teams moves forward, one of them says goodbye.
Now, in terms of history, we don't have a whole lot to go off when it comes to Mercenaries, but I did a little bit of digging, and I found that really the only time recently that they've played Clubhouse was actually in the South Asia Nationals closed qualifier in the grand final. They took down Kira Esports 7-1. So, you know, there are definitely no pushovers on this map, and I guess that is why they have elected to go here. On the flip side, though, Seventh Heaven as well with some decent form. They took down Order 7-3 in round 1 of APAC South, and in the relegations, they also survived an 8-7. Thatcher Maverick, though, Xenox, does that spark your interest?
Well, the Maverick does. A Thatcher by itself, you know, is just about normal. Kaid getting banned out as well. Will make those hatches a little bit easier to open up and less trickier. Maverick, of course, the main thing is going to be that Kennel's Wall. So pretty interesting ban so far. One more to go. What are your thoughts, Guz?
Well, Seventh Heaven with the ban, I would probably... I mean, last time they played this map, they banned Kaid. Before that clash, neither on this occasion. Mute taken off the board. Maybe be expecting some aggressive roams above from Mercenaries, and of course Mute facilitating that. So I mean, so far nothing too crazy jumping out in the ban phase, and I think both teams will be pretty happy with how it's played out. Quite traditional in the current meta, to be honest. Very, very traditional.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. It's going to be Church Arsenal first up. Seventh Heaven on the defense and Mercenaries on the attack, and well, they usually start off that way. In this case, it's very important because Clubhouse has, at least in this region, become a bit defender-sided, or maybe even always has, Guz, in a way. And Seventh Heaven are going to look to in fact, to get off to a good start here against Mercenaries if they are to win this first map. Of course, this is Mercenaries' map pick. So if Seventh Heaven can steal this and then you head over to Chalet, I mean, maybe we won't go the distance. So expectations on Mercenaries to do well. I think at best, they're looking for maybe 2-3 in their attacking half, and they can be happy about that.
Mercenaries playing the mind games pretty early here in round number 1. They revealed the Monty, but then Hasib changed over towards the Zofia to provide some additional utility for the team. I mean, I would have been super keen to see a Monty push maybe down main stairs, through dirt or even blue in round number 1, but that won't come into fruition, and Seventh Heaven can breathe a sigh of relief as their lineup is not really great in countering Montang directly. Either way, though, they'll put some soft barricades up, suggesting that we might see a soft roam here from Seventh Heaven. Again, they did take the Mute off the board, so if they roam, they can only thank themselves for it being a little bit harder.
Well, the only Montang we usually see, especially in APAC South, is usually from Luna. So, and I'm almost certain that last time we saw that in Clubhouse, it actually didn't work out that well. A couple of Church Arsenal pushes, as well as a cash CCTV. Regardless, though, no Monty. No surprise, though, I guess. The big thing I'm going to be looking for is Seventh Heaven's positioning. Now, you can already see Pika inside of Freezer there. This already suggests that they're going to look to be very, very aggressive on their defense, roaming. They look for a few picks, don't get anything. Edie and Pika will fall back down main stairs. But just the aggressive nature, and I think we'll be expecting that from both teams.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks to the real CCV who did some stat tracking in the South Asia Nationals, it was brought to my attention that in South Asia they love early engagements. In fact, the opening kills in so many of those series were averaging at like low 2 minutes. So literally a minute into every single round, there was at least one pick. So Seventh Heaven, of course, not being from South Asia, may not play into that as heavily, but as we saw in that first engagement, that was super early into the round. Neither player fell, but it would suggest to me that that could be a trend that continues throughout.
Yeah, and Mercenaries didn't look too dejected by that either. They've pushed in. There's still got, what, a minute 40 left on the clock as they start to open up kitchen floorboards and get these sight lines down below. So they're actually doing pretty well, all things considered. And remember, of course, no Kaid, so no electric laws on these hatches. Should be pretty easy to open up this kitchen hatch. And I think Mercenary is doing really well for time right now. They've got a bit of presence over towards Oil Pit on top of this. But right now, Seventh Heaven not offering much, and then Pika gets spotted from above. Snow with a good angle. The Sledge gets that opening kill.
Snow's dropped deep in towards the site, looking to find a pick, but he gets stunned by Ray. Hiding behind the tall box, taken down. A little bit of a risky play there for MercenarieZ. Brings it to a 4 versus 4, but Fatah gets one back there onto ED. And now they can surely trade this out on the attack.
They're doing really well. I mean, they're even going to look to open up dirt. They've got presence if they want through Oil Pit. Obviously, they've already got Kitchen as well on top of this. MercenarieZ looking good, along with the fact that it is, of course, a 4 versus 3. Great start. Hasib now on site in Arsenal. Ray does get one back, though. That might just slow this momentum and building towards getting this plant down. Maker pushing in through blue, and MI7 still above as MercenarieZ looking to maybe take this opening round here on Clubhouse. Ray over towards Moto. Souffle getting a kill, and suddenly things have just swung back in favor of 7th Heaven.
Hasib finally finds some safety inside of Church, and he looks to stick the plant. Maker needs to cover. He does find one, immediately traded, but in the meanwhile, Hasib gets the plant down. 7th Heaven need to time this perfectly. Oh, and they do. Spirited, the clutch master steps up big. And 7th Heaven will just claim round number 1.
I mean, Clutch Master indeed spirited once again in a 1vx. I mean, it was 2v1 to begin with, but it did come down to the 1v1, and we know how good Spirited is in these clutch moments, time and time again in APAC South, and he brings it here for the APAC Playoffs. Big round win for 7th Heaven because MercenarieZ were all over them, guys. Not quite from the get-go. We did see the aggression from 7th Heaven early on, looking to be aggressive. We saw Pika and Freezer, and they took a few shots. But ultimately, MercenarieZ's ability to actually get control of that first floor, open up the floorboards, also getting presence in through Oil Pit, in through Dirt. I mean, they were all over 7th Heaven. So, big round win for 7th Heaven.
Quite a messy first round there. MercenarieZ pretty reliant on solo entries on the attack down the hatch drop, trying to find picks. Almost like they were just all waiting up the top and sending one by one down below to see what they could do. And unfortunately, in the end, their reinforcements withered too low, and 7th Heaven able to capitalize. And I do wonder if that's a trend that might continue here. Will the attacks be a little bit messy here for MercenarieZ, maybe a little bit more untraditional compared to what we normally see in APAC North and APAC South? Keeping in mind that South Asia are a pretty isolated region. They've developed their own sort of meta, and it's pretty wild. It's a bit of a wild west, if you would, over there, and I'm sure they'll bring that to the playoffs, as we've already seen.
Well, it's interesting you say sort of like messy. I wonder if they're trying to maybe do too much there. They had too many avenues. Maybe having to focus on one or two, for instance, may have worked out better for MercenarieZ. Cash CCTV, though, is going to be a different beast entirely coming into this round. Of course, we know there's no Maverick, no Thatcher, so they should pretty much favor MercenarieZ. There's a chance that they can deal with this. I can't actually recall. Were they the ones who banned out the Maverick? They were, so I was right. So they obviously are going to be quite comfortable in their ability to deal with this Kennel's Wall.
X-Kara spraying out. MI7 quickly opening a nice angle in towards the rafters, a nice line of sight, and an entry point as well on the northernmost garage. Souffle playing on the stairs position may consider contesting this. No ADS devices, I believe, backing up that position, but there is a line of sight from Lounge as well. So quite aggressive here from the defense.
Yeah, Pika, the way that he's playing this rafters position, he's looking to establish that presence down below a little bit rather than just proning up above and just holding the position. He's actually in the fray down below. Makes it a little bit more difficult for MercenarieZ to just sort of push in and try and flush him out. So they are going to be quite slow in their approach at the moment, especially compared to the last round where it was really guns blazing from the get-go, both teams at that. Snow, of course, found that opening pick onto Pika. That was around the minute 10 mark. Ray, though, this time is going to be the one who gets the opening kill for 7th Heaven this time. Big advantage for them. Sevilla is gone. Edie actually going to be downed, guys.
Great combination of flash grenades and a frag there by MercenarieZ, despite both the Jaeger and Wamai being brought to the table, and with that nice line of sight, Fatah can finish the bandit off. Of course, previously downed. He can hold the cross. A little bit risky that it isn't an entry point, but MercenarieZ could still pull this off if they gain Rafters control, and with Fatah getting yet another pick, I do see that being a very real possibility.
Yeah, and he's got these sight lines established now as well. Pika's got to be very careful up in Rafters, getting pushed as well from two players now below in Garage. Minute left in the round, he's getting droned as well, but he knows the push is coming up those stairs. Snow on point 2 kills now in the first 2 rounds as MercenarieZ look to close out this second round here on this cache CCTV site. Spirited, those available and still alive. And we know what he can do in these scenarios. He's cool, he's calm in his approach towards eliminating the rest of MercenarieZ. Ray, though, on the other hand, just makes a bit of a blunder. Swing from Spirited, unsuccessful. Well, actually, in the end, a bit of a trade. Fatah getting the first kill, and that's all that matters. MercenarieZ take round 2.
That's what we like to see. A lot more methodical there for MercenarieZ, playing quite default. I guess you could argue that maybe the upside down rappel on the main wall was pretty fresh and a little bit difficult for 7th Heaven to deal with. And that player posted up in Fatah did find 2 key picks. Outside of that, though, a good take of Garage Rafters and decent control of Lounge late to prevent the run out allowed MercenarieZ to convert that round. So cheeky little comeback there, and I think MercenarieZ will be pretty happy with the result.
I think the one thing to sort of remember here, it's only 1-1, but this is going to be, and I say this a lot, it's a marathon, not a sprint. This is a best of 3, and both teams haven't, well, actually, I'm imagining MercenarieZ, did they play best of 3s in their qualifiers to get in here? But 7th Heaven haven't played a best of 3 for a while, guys. So they've got to be cool in their approach. It's not their map pick. This is not do or die just yet, but there's an opportunity presented to them to, of course, steal this opening map and then get over to Chalet, where they might feel a bit more comfortable against MercenarieZ on their pick.
Yeah, the last time 7th Heaven would have played a BO3 was in fact in those relegations where they survived another day to secure their spot in APAC South this year. So I guess they have at least somewhat of a decent track record there. And again, this is MercenarieZ map pick, so 7th Heaven will be looking to just put up a bit of a fight, not let it slip away too far, and see what they can do. It's not too uncommon that teams, you know, they might not be happy, but they're also not super uncomfortable if their opponent's map pick goes the way of their opponent, if you would.
Yeah.
All signs
and all expectations as well are on 7th Heaven here, regardless of sort of map picks and who owns each map pick. No disrespect to MercenarieZ, and look, they are a good team. They pushed Knights earlier, and there is every chance that they can win this, but 7th Heaven are considered the maybe slight favorites, I guess. I wouldn't even say heavy favorites, guys.
Yeah. MercenarieZ, a dominant force in South Asia. A lot of firsts in that position column on their Liquipedia page, I'll tell you that much. A lot of gold. And their biggest rival, really, in Union Gaming, not even making it to the closed qualifiers. So, might be a sign of a changing tide over in the South Asian region. MercenarieZ looking to really take it up against the big dogs. Souffle in an identical position to Ray on the last occasion, or it may have been ED. Either way, taken out in a very similar fashion. Spirited, though, retaliates, finds one through the window. But this upside down rappel from Fatah could cause issues once again.
Advantage MercenarieZ, though, here in this 3rd round. Looking to take cash CCTV once again. As you said, Fatah, though, is the one that's proving to be a thorn in the side of 7th Heaven. Struggling to deal with him on this upside-down rappel over at Kennel's wall. Minute 24 left in the round, still a lot of time, and Spirited is, well, alive. He's 5-1 as well. Doing well in the clutch, but also finding a few picks outside of those 1vx situations. Is usually not even the main fragger for the team. Usually you'd look to the likes of Pika or even Ray. Minute left. ED, careful, down from Lounge. Finds a pick into Garage, he swings again, he gets the second on MI7. Advantage maybe, although only momentarily. Fatah and Maker both finding picks, and guess who is in a 1vx?
Spirited. The clutch master. Maybe. Still an asterisk against that. If he wins this, then that name can ring true once again. Kit on the roof, collected by Fatah. You would have to assume that MercenarieZ with Rafters control will take through Garage and go for a default plant. And so far, that looks to be the case. But there is still a player upside down on the main rappel. MercenarieZ dedicating to this strat.
25 seconds left. Fatah's gone in, and as you said, make upside down. Nice swing for Spirited now in a 1 versus 1, and he knows that player has to come in to get the diffuser. There's only 15 seconds left, so he does not need to peek. He's playing this perfectly, Spirited. Maker's looking for an angle that maybe Spirited hasn't got covered. Close, shotgun, peek, clutch, God, Spirited once again for 7th Heaven. How does he keep getting away with it?
Oh, ice in the veins. Spirited statistically may not be one of the strongest players, but my God, if you need a man to clutch around, give him a call and I'm sure he'll show up very quickly. A little bit questionable there for MercenarieZ not to go for the default double up in terms of one player posted on the rafters and the other going for the plant. Instead, they tried to dedicate to that upside down rappel, and sure, it looks fancy and sure it does work in the mid round. It only takes a very small mistake for it to crumble late round. Of course, it did on that occasion. MercenarieZ will be a little bit upset at how that round played out. That's Spirited. My word. What a legend. 7-1. What the hell?
Yeah, he is popping off right now. And look, it's the time to do it though, guys. Of course, you know, APAC Playoffs, it's not around here forever. You're in the do or die gauntlet already, right? You're in this match for a reason. You lost earlier. Now it's do or die. You either lose or you go. So you either win or you go home. You need to perform now, here or now, in the gauntlet and make a run for that 4th place. So big ups to Spirited. Off to a great start for 7th Heaven. Not reflected, though, on the scoreboard. It's only 2-1. MercenarieZ not really feeling the full effects of some of these Spirited 1vx clutches just yet. One thing I do want to point out, though, guys, only 3 rounds in, but it is a trend now, being that it's 3 rounds. But all 3 opening kills have not resulted in that team going on and winning the round. So it does highlight that even though there's this aggressive nature and we're seeing these early picks, usually beyond the minute-and-a-half mark, they're not translating into round wins at all so far.
Yeah, a little bit unusual. And probably a reflection of how messy the late round really is between these two. Early engagement at Secret Maker. Alexa re-peak. And MercenarieZ, a reflection of the South Asian region. They will just take on any gunfight serve their way. In fact, MI7 now joining in on the action to try and find a pick. Meanwhile, Pika does find the first on 2. Hasib, oh my word, he doubles down as well. They're on 2 for Tar. That's 2 kills, make it 3 actually, in the first minute of the round. This is very uncharacteristic for Clubhouse, as I can't even get my words out, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch. You might say it's uncharacteristic for Clubhouse, but it is right up the alley for these South Asia and even at times APAC South teams. It's not exactly the most methodical siege, but it's certainly a lot of fun to watch and to see it play out. MI7 hasn't fully opened up this kitchen hatch just yet. Not really in a rush, still in a minute and a half. And of course, no Kaye clause, so they can do so at any time that they wish. This is the ex-Kairos. 2 at a time to open it up. Minute and 20 seconds left, so despite the early engagements and the early fun, it does settle down. 7th Heaven have got their man advantage. They're happy to now just fall back to sight and make it a bit difficult for MercenarieZ to win these trades down a player. 7th Heaven are definitely in the driver's seat for this 4th round.
Spirited, of course, still alive, and if he's on the board, then it's probably going to be a 7th Heaven win. MercenarieZ, though, getting work done on towards the hatch. Need to be mindful, of course, of Ray down below. Talk about the man in a powerful position over towards Moto. Sends out a really nice gas grenade to push back Maker. And as time begins to trickle down, it looks more difficult for MercenarieZ. They seem to be having a really difficult time creating footholds on their attack on basement. And again, they're likely just going to be forced to send it down one by one and find picks.
Well, last time out, they had a lot of different avenues. Didn't quite work out. Maybe just funneling and trading and trying to just hit your shots might work out. Top down time. Smoke is going to throw out that smoke grenade. Ray with a good vantage point here. And again, still advantage for 7th Heaven. MI7, no chance at all with Ray's positioning on point. 3 versus 1. Not a chance at all for Maker. He ain't no Spirited. And 7th Heaven are not playing around here. Off to a great start on Clubhouse.
Cheeky little angle there exploited to win the round. And look, I hope for MercenarieZ's sake that this doesn't really go to OT. That basement side looking very, very strong here for 7th Heaven. I guess the one thing in their favor is that if it does go to overtime, 7th Heaven will be the team starting on the attack. So take that as you would, but we can forget about that site for the meanwhile. Gym Bedroom, hell yeah, my favorite site on Clubhouse, even though statistically it's not really the best for defense. But nonetheless, we always see some pretty exciting gameplay here. And with Frost and Mirror on the board, I'm sure the excitement will continue.
Yeah, and we've seen the Frost mats at times prove to be quite pivotal. Very much a flavorful pick in the APAC region, not so much in other regions. The Mirror, you would suspect, going to put Mirror in logistics and play from there in that position. At times, gym bedroom, we see a lot of different plays, but I think it's usually becoming quite staple. A player usually top red, one cash, put that shield there, give up that position after a minute or so, and fall back to site. And from there, it just comes down to those sort of balcony picks and how that sort of plays out. But I'd like to maybe see Seventh Heaven take a different spin on it, maybe a roam underneath or something and go for a flank. See if they do look to mix it up a little bit or if they do keep it quite structured. We have, of course, seen so far in the opening 4 rounds that both teams are happy to be a little bit over aggressive. We'll see if that continues here in round number 5.
Yeah, I don't think MercenarieZ will have too many issues clearing out CCTV and cash, at least. When 7th Heaven are directly defending that objective, MercenarieZ look quite strong, and I would expect them to follow that up with a decent map sweep. It appears as if they have actually spawned on the western side of the map, so Jacuzzi will be a point of contention early here, but as we often see, teams will pop it quite quickly and move elsewhere. Although Maker's...
I've heard that music before, Guz.
Although Maker's position below is... I don't know if it's scaring me a little bit, but it's got me intrigued. They might just drone him up the main stairs here and see if you can find a couple picks.
Well, it's something a little different. Already opening up that Jacuzzi wall, that is quite normal.
Okay, so he's going to clear the mirror from below. Yeah.
This is really, really good from Maker and MercenarieZ here. We'll be able to clear this mirror, as you said. So this is going to make this west side, this Jacuzzi wall side, just that a little bit easier for MercenarieZ. Opening picks, it just continues to explode here in Gem Bedroom, and it continues to go the way of MercenarieZ. As Sib catching Ray.
Spirited's alive though, Xenox. You never know. You just never know. With this man still on the board. Of course, position compromise. That mirror obviously was popped early into the round by Maker. And with the man advantage, surely MercenarieZ can take their time, drone it out. They have Geminis as well, grenades. They have a lot to work with here. This is their round to lose.
And they've still got 5 drones as well with a minute left. Although I don't know about slow walking through there with Spirited that close. He's going to swing as well, because why not? Spirited! Surely he wins this as well. No, he's going to play it safe. That's the smart play, because he would have put his teammate Edie in a 1v2 had he lost that swing. Edie just... well, hiding out literally in a bunker at Secret Stash with 50 seconds left. What a round. I mean, you did say this can be a funky way to play this. Maker, though, swings from behind. He's going to catch out Edie. Spirited in a 1v2. He can't win it this time. MI7 says no to the clutch god. MercenarieZ back in the winner's seat.
A really enjoyable round there to watch from MercenarieZ. Sure, it was a little bit messy later in the round, but I really want to praise Maker and the droning that facilitated that play so early into the round. We rarely see teams clear that mirror from below, despite it being, a destructible flaw. Just so many teams overlook that fact, and his ability to pop that and allow for Tar and the Rappel to find those 2 early picks was pivotal in allowing them to convert that round. So full praise there to MercenarieZ for that round. And who knows, maybe they can draw out the half.
Well, I think even 2 rounds, Guz, on the attack, Clubhouse has shown that it's defender-sided. I think from here for MercenarieZ in this final round, it's a free punch. If they can get 3.5 on the attack, it's looking very good for their map pick on Clubhouse, then switching at the half, as you said. But if it does go to 4-2, that's probably fine. I don't think they'd be upset with that. So the onus is on 7th Heaven here to get that 4-2. Otherwise, they will be disappointed with a 3-3 half on their defense. Cash and CCTV, they are forced to go. They were undefeated in Church Arsenal, but Cash is where they were picked apart in that second round. Can they do one better here? They did, of course, win it in that 3rd round, but they're going to have to do it again. So it's 1-1 at the moment in terms of the Cash CCTV site in this final round for the half.
I guess the main question I want answered in this round is, will MercenarieZ commit again to that upside down rappel on the CC wall? I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. Sure, last time during the 2 versus 1, I believe it was, or 2 versus 2, whatever the case was, it did not quite work out the way they would have liked, but at least again, early to mid round, it seems to be very potent. And it's probably something that 7th Heaven just haven't seen before. I know I definitely haven't seen it. And it is a little bit peculiar. I mean, who in their right mind devises a strat around Ace upside down repelling on a single breach on the main wall? It's just absolutely bizarre. But again, it has been working out. And I would have to assume that Fatah is just going to do it again.
But you'd have to say, though, if you keep trying to do it over and over again, at times the opposition is, you'd have to say, going to figure it out and look to counter that and make it very difficult to achieve, say, for 2-3 times in a row. You know, we saw them do it in the first round, we saw them do it in the second round, but they lost the second round. And then the third round now, it's like, okay, they should now know what's going to happen. How do we best counter that? How do we make sure our position is fine? So let's see how we play out here in this 6th round, final round for the half. Sib looking to be aggressive, find a wall bang, unsuccessful.
Pika with those impact grenades looking to trick the wall as, again, Fatah on the upside down rappel, just ominously waiting for any player to cross. Meanwhile, Ray is dropped. That's the Malusi taken down. With that main breach exposed, 7th Heaven could find it tricky to hold this one out.
Spirited, who's been so instrumental in this first half, will be required once again to get involved, but unfortunately walks straight into the sight of Snow. In some serious trouble now in this round for 7th Heaven. 3 versus 5. Edie's going to go down. Snow's got 3 for the round already. Only 2 left. It's Pika and Souffle. Pika just gets obliterated as well. And it is going to be a MercenarieZ victory in this 6th round, and they are going to tie it up at halftime. 3 versus 3. Unfortunately, Souffle having a little bit of issues there in that round, but everywhere else, guys, it was a MercenarieZ flawless, clean round.
Great way for them to end out the half, and that strategy works out. I think with it being such an obvious strategy, maybe the best way, or maybe not the best way to describe it, but I don't know, it's just a bit of an eyesore, and I feel like that will catch the attention of any potential teams that are going to be facing them later on in the bracket. So I'm not fully convinced that Fatah will be able to pull that off against every other team, assuming they progress deeper into the lower bracket. But hey, it's Clubhouse. We don't see a whole lot of innovation. I'm super glad that we're finally seeing some from the South Asian teams nonetheless as well, which is really epic. And it pays off. So look, unfortunate there for the Bandit. Not the reason they lost the round, let's be honest. Cash wall was soft. Don't know what's going on there. Spirited just walking into that line of sight. Again, main wall, free real estate, rafters as well, not really contested very well there. So MercenarieZ on that objective looked super clean. A stark contrast to Basement though. Like their Basement attack was honestly atrocious, but their CCTV was like absolutely on point. So if they can maybe tidy up that Basement heading into, you know, the rest of the playoffs, then Clubhouse is a really dangerous map for them.
You say that, and while I don't disagree with you, in that very opening round, it did come down to a 1v1 for that Basement site. So it's like, even if they were playing it poorly, guys, they still almost got a round there. So what does that say for 7th Heaven? If a poorly attacked MercenarieZ almost took Church Arsenal from them that first round, it could have easily been a 4-2 attacking half on Clubhouse, and we would have been sitting here singing the praises of MercenarieZ. In fact, though, we kind of still are, though, for a 3-3 half. They now switch. They now go to the defense, and we kind of expect them to take their map pick here on Clubhouse and go 1-0 up in the best of 3 series. Of course, long way to go, and 7th Heaven are rightfully going to get their chance to attack. But I think one thing to point out is for Spirited, as good as he is, especially in those clutch, a lot of that usually comes on the defense. Not so much the attack, guys. Now 7th Heaven go on the attack, they may not have the firepower from Spirited that they once did.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that point. And it's important that if you aren't having a massive impact in the frag department, particularly early, mid-round, even late round, that you're doing something on the team, right? So maybe we're better off tracking what's his drone economy like? What's his utility doing? Is that assisting his team in actually performing other acts around the map? Because as you mentioned, yeah, he might not be that impactful in the frag department, but on an attack pattern these days, you're typically going to have 1 or 2 players that aren't doing a whole lot in that department, right? Because you're normally going to have someone doing flank watch. You may have another player that's dedicated to doing the hard drone, the Dev Martyr role, if you would, because he obviously is not a great fragger himself. So yeah, something to track, but I wouldn't be too concerned if I'm 7th Heaven, right? Because they've been playing with him for a while now. after he replaced Sino. So it's nothing new, and it shouldn't be a shock to the system.
Well, I mean, I would probably be concerned a little bit if I was 7th Heaven here, 3-3 on your defense Clubhouse against a team you're kind of expected to beat. Again, that's no slight on Mercenaries, because right now Mercenaries are actually saying, no, we're not expected to be beaten. We're here to put up a fight, and a fight they're putting up. And going back again to their best of one that they played earlier in the day against Knights, that was 7-5 on Coastline, if I remember correctly. And that was pretty close. That was a pretty even affair. In fact, it was, I think, even like a 1v1 that in that very final round that could have sent it to OT. That's how close it was. So for Mercenaries, they're here to play. And for 7th Heaven, if they don't pick up the pace here, if they don't improve, I can easily see them getting sent home in last place. No prize money, no SI points for an APAC South team. And that's probably just about not good enough. So they need to improve a little bit going into the second half. They'll have the opportunity on the attack. If they can't take it, then they go down 1-0. And Chalet might be their map pick, guys, but I don't think it's their map.
Yeah. Typically in a best of 3, you can normally back up a team's map pick with some evidence that they're actually going to be the stronger team, just objectively the stronger team. But we just don't have that history on this map. And some of the indicators we're already seeing on Clubhouse in terms of super aggressive play, innovation on a stagnant map, and just overall some pretty solid siege for the most part. It does look a little bit worrying for 7th Heaven on that second map. I'm not going to lie. I'm by no means penning that in as a 7th Heaven victory. If Mercenaries somehow manage to pluck their opponent's map pick, that 2-0 becomes a really serious threat, which would just be absolutely insane. Disappointing for 7th Heaven, but look, it's a long way away, right? We're only at the halfway point of map 1, so we're looking a long way into the future.
We're preparing for the future, guys. We got to be prepared, and 7th Heaven have to be kind of prepared as well. Full focus, of course, is still on the second half for both teams. You know, things can change, things can happen, the unexpected. If Mercenaries can get 3 in their attacking half, there's no reason 7th Heaven can't do the same themselves. One thing, though, I'm going to be looking forward to in this second half is the way that Mercenaries are going to position defensively. You know, we go back to the way that Church Arsenal was played, guys, and we saw the aggressive nature of Pika and Freezer looking maybe for a cheeky spawn pick. While they didn't really engage too much in that first floor exchange, and then they kind of went down pretty quickly, I do wonder if we might see a bit more of it from Mercenaries, if they may look to put a bit more pressure on that first floor, say, for Church Arsenal, if they may look to flank a little bit more for, say, Cash and CCTV. So let's see how aggressive they get on their defense, and who knows, it might either work out really well for them, or it could be their downfall. Let's get into the second half, of course, in this first map of the best of 3 for APAC Playoffs. If you're just tuning in, it's do or die time for both of these two teams. The loser of this best of 3 is eliminated from the playoffs. Last place, no prize money, no SI points. The winner moves forward and guarantees at least some SI points. 3-3, first map, first half.
And just quickly continuing on from that point you made, theory crafting the Mercenaries' aggressiveness or potential for aggressiveness, as I sort of referenced earlier, during the South Asia Nationals, my God, Mercenaries were no exemption to the rule of early picks. So I would not be surprised if Mercenaries spawn peek, aggressively roam, and just engage in nutty gunfights earlier. I mean, they're bringing Frost for an upstairs roam on below. So if that's any indication to what we can expect, who knows? This could be wild, and sure, maybe not all those engagements will go in favor of the defense, but if they can disrupt the attack pattern of 7th Heaven early into the round, then that might throw them off.
Along with the castle barricades as well. I mean, the one thing that Frost still brings, right, is that deployable shield. So, and along with the shotgun as well. But yeah, this is cheeky. Just looking to catch a member of 7th Heaven unaware. We'll position these for gym bedroom along with Con as well. Will it work out? I mean, this is fascinating to watch already. The real question, though, and this is sort of what I was going on about, guys, is how aggressive does, say, Fatah stay? Does he stick here or does he drop really quickly? This is going to be the big play.
Yeah, I thought Fatah... Oh, well, I didn't think. I now know that he was looking to peek that window. Pretty insane. And again, Mercenaries leaning into taking on early gunfights, and whilst it doesn't pose a serious threat to 7th Heaven in that round, it is something that could catch them unawares. The Frost match shouldn't catch them unawares, though. Souffle draining those out, calling them out to the rest of the team. And I believe top floor is now clear. So it's up to 7th Heaven to take it swiftly and now consider control of the floor above the objective. Of course, kitchen and bar.
Yeah, and I think the one thing to sort of note here is that the real goal for Fatah and for MercenarieZ is to just buy some time and force this top-down clear approach from 7th Heaven. Don't necessarily need to get someone injured in the frost mat. Don't necessarily need to get a spawn peak. Just try and buy some time and make it so it just takes them that extra, say, 20, 30 seconds, clearing things, making sure that there's no one roaming around or someone sitting in bathroom, for instance, anything crazy like that. There's a minute and a half to go, and as you can evidently tell, we haven't actually seen much of, say, 7th Heaven, you know, and Pika, say, opening up this kitchen site. They're still dealing with a lot of this utility from above. So 7th Heaven are going to have to pick up the pace here.
As we so often see, Pika on the sledge, establishing vertical above in the kitchen hallway. We'll need to be mindful of the one and only C4 in the hands of the Bandit. Spirited, though, he gets the first pick. It's not often we see Spirited get the opening kills, but like 7th Heaven so often do, they'll prove us wrong. And that's the Echo taken down. I don't even know where that was from, but either way, he gets the pick. MI7, though, he retaliates, and that's ED off the board.
Yeah, and it's good for Spirited too, because as I mentioned before, not exactly as impactful on the attack as he is on the defense. That doesn't necessarily mean he isn't impactful at all, though. It's just, to be honest, his defense is that impeccable. It's hard to sort of match it on the attack. MI7 has now found 2 for the round. Oh, Spirited just caught unaware for Tar with a good angle. And MI7's now got 3 for the round. Ray, all of a sudden, a 1 versus 4. No time as well on the clock. Does put up a valuable effort, but in the end, MercenarieZ do close out the first defensive round of their second half.
Well, that site down below proving to be difficult for both MercenarieZ and 7th Heaven on the attack. One interesting thing that caught my eye there at the very conclusion of that round was, in fact, that castle barricade holding down the long angle. I guess that facilitates the defense deep in towards Armory. They can rotate from blue over towards AK rack. Fortifies the position behind the big box a little bit better as well. And they're also playing a deployable shield there too. So, again, more unique strategies being brought to the board by MercenarieZ. And 7th Heaven just struggling a little bit to deal with that. I think the match, though, of course, will open up. As we head above, that's where we saw it open up, really, on MercenarieZ and attack, and I assume we'll see that trend continue with 7th Heaven.
The thing that's most concerning for me, though, is the fact that 7th Heaven got the opening pick. I mean, how often do you see a 5v4 with a minute to go, Church Arsenal, the attacking team, then just completely capitulate like that? That goes down to a 1v4. And then, yeah, it's a little bit staggering for me that they weren't able to capitalize on that opening pick better, or actually at all. So, concerning times for 7th Heaven as we do go to cash and CCTV, as you said, Guz. It's been difficult for both teams, at least, attacking Church Arsenal. This site in particular, though, has been more 50-50. Definitely up for grabs. And, I mean, I'm happy to go on record and say if 7th Heaven lose this round on cash and CCTV, 3-5 with what will be Gym Bedroom and then Church Arsenal looming, it's going to be a long way back for them to close out this map.
MI7 on the Bandit on this occasion. We did see MercenarieZ clear up this position really nicely. A great combination of flashbangs and frag grenades. You'd have to assume that 7th Heaven will do something similar here. Pika has those grenades in hand. Spirited, if he so desires, can send in those flashbangs. That said, he, of course, he's going to be playing on the wall. So maybe we'll see Souffle take that position on the CCTV window. Fun little minigame, this one. Game of cat and mouse between the attack and defense. And 7th Heaven look to open the wall. MI7
going to try his best to bandit trick the Selmas, or the exothermic charge, I should say. Not even close to being able to contest that. Too much pressure from below as well. That's a pretty early Kennel's wall opened up. 2 minutes still remaining. A lot of time for 7th Heaven to now work garage. Try and deal with snow up above, which will be difficult. I mean, you got the ADSs, you got the Wamai magnets as well. It's not going to be easy to displace him from this rafters position.
Drones being sent in here from 7th Heaven as they try and ascertain what control mercenaries do have, and as we can see on the overhead, Red and Cash pretty well fortified, and with the main wall opened, CCTV can't be held directly by mercenaries, but Hasib is down below, and I believe there was a player on rafters. So at the moment, all the key positions are locked down here by mercenaries, and as Maker gets the first, Seventh Heaven are not in a very good position.
So now that they're down a player, let alone that player being spirited.
Oh, no way. Oh.
Oh, this close. Souffle, though, just takes the head off of Hasib. Did just take actually 2 little shots back. I believe that was from the player up in rafters. 45 seconds left, and it's a 4 versus 4. Opportunity brewing here for Seventh Heaven, though, and they need to take advantage of it. They need to still deal with that player up in rafters, though, in Snow. Pika getting MI7. Ray can now look into CCTV. Can open up that cash wall a little bit if he wants. Snow just repositioning slightly here. Oh. Does he know the player has walked in? He doesn't. Souffle has just caught him blind. Snow had no idea that he had walked already into garage. 15 seconds left. It's only 2 left for mercenaries. Make that one with Maker's elimination. It's only Fatah left. And he does stop the diffuser, but he loses his life instantaneously afterwards. Souffle with a big headshot. Seventh Heaven with a much needed round win.
One of the key things that really stood out to me in that round was mercenaries down below, not really having the presence of mind or the intel or the inkling, however you want to frame it, that there were multiple attackers down below at multiple stages, particularly late round, right? We saw Pika down below looking to maybe find a nade through the floor. He ended up getting a gunfight there onto MI7, I believe it was. We saw a second player super deep into the round also taken down below, and that impact just completely nullified by the attack. It was a strong start to the round for mercenaries, but the second that over-aggression brought it back to the 4 versus 4, Seventh Heaven made them feel the pain and brought it back.
For a very split second there, mercenaries had selected Cash CCTV, then they've switched it to Gym Bedroom. Just have to wonder if there was a mini debate, but even just a split second, guys, as to whether or not they have a second chance, second opportunity on Cash CCTV. They've elected not to redo that site, and they've moved over to Gym Bedroom. This could be pretty telling. I think you said it earlier that of all of the sites, at least on Clubhouse, Gym Bedroom's probably better for the attacking team. So they've chosen to avoid Cash CCTV. We'll see if it bites them in the behind.
5 seconds left.
I'm actually curious to know where Hasib has placed, or is going to place, as he hasn't placed them yet. Those black mirrors. You would assume one here inside of the little box in Logi, and the other inside of bathroom. Again, another interesting adaptation here from mercenaries. They're leaving a prone hole between logistics and con. Normally that's a crouch hole or just a straight up walk-through hole that is later reinforced, but mercenaries allowing their defenders to rotate during the prep phase, but not making it an easy path of entry for the attack during the action phase. So again, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I've seen more innovation in this one best of one from a South Asian team than we have seen, at least from South APAC, for the entire stage. So props to them.
That jacuzzi wall, though, immediately opened up. No surprises. A lot of time left in this round as well. Really good opportunity for Seventh Heaven to get 2 round wins in a row, take a 5-4 lead. Of course, then that means that they can actually afford to lose Church Arsenal later on. Maker, bit of a swing. Looking from top red down the push. But he was blinded and flashed a little bit. He ended up just blocking up the Vulcan shield. Didn't quite work out. Edie with the opening kill onto Maker, and Souffle then gets one onto MI7.
Well, your setup can be as fancy as you want, and it might look nice in the overhead, but if it doesn't work out inside of the server, then look, it's just it's not going to do the job required. 2 players from mercenaries, Fatah and Hasib, critically low already in this round. Surely Seventh Heaven take their time and convert. There is no reason why this should not be their round to win. But maybe a spirited isolated over towards Jacuzzi with the diffuser in hand could pose a problem.
impact grenade from below was able to get the down onto his Sib, who was already quite low in health. Snow catches Ray, but they are bleeding players profusely. Look at this position, this angle from Snow, though, on that prone hole, as you mentioned earlier. 40 seconds left. Spirit is going to get the plant down, though, in bedroom, and, well, Fatah's too low to really make much of a play. As soon as Snow pushes onto site, he is just going to be swarmed on, and, well, Edie does just that. 3 kills in the round. Fatah from below. He's got 34 seconds to... Oh, yeah, jeez. A little slow on the reaction time there. Souffle will punish him. 7th Heaven win the round. 5-4. They've won the last 2.
Boop. Cheeky little shot there to close things out, and I take back everything I said about that setup. It was absolutely terrible, and I hope they just go back to defaults. Nah, I'm kidding. Honestly, the thing that stood out to me the most in that Logi rotate really had absolutely no impact in that round. It was just super potent aggression there from 7th Heaven, particularly on that top red stairs position. That player was just completely choked out. He never stood a chance. And 7th Heaven, with that man advantage, it was a pretty easy round conversion. So, unfortunately, for Mercenaries, their offsite hold not really stacking up. And now they're at the disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, for now, you would have to hope that they could win Church Arsenal here and make it 5-5. Otherwise, it's just about good as done, really, if they can't close this one out and make it 5-5. They are going to take the tack pause, Mercenaries, just to sort of reshape, rejig things. And at times, at least in the APAC South region, we've seen these tack pauses really turn games around, Guz. And it's almost like a new team comes out on the other side of the tack pause. So we'll see if that can happen here for Mercenaries. We expect them to win this round. But from there onwards, they're kind of on an island. They're going to have to win Cash CCTV. They're going to have to win Gym Bedroom. So we'll see whether or not they're going to be able to do that. First, they've got to deal with this, which I believe no team has won this as an attacking team yet in this matchup. So this is an opportunity for 7th Heaven to buck that trend.
Yep, that's 100% true. We've seen it played 3 times thus far. This will be the 4th. And like you said, on every single occasion, the defense has won it. And I will add on top of that, the defense has won it very, very convincingly, despite in round number 7, Spirited getting the opening pick. 7th Heaven was still unable to convert. It came down to a 1 versus 4, in fact, so they lost all of their team off the back of that opening pick. Maybe that's, you know, just a case of 2 teams clashing heads. We often see different matchups produce different results, and on this occasion, it may just be a fact that both these teams have rock solid defenses, and with the bans in place and whatnot, of course, it's going to be a little bit tricky. I've got to question this, though, for Mercenaries Fatah, again dedicating to the Frost. It was cleared and droned very efficiently by 7th Heaven the last time and had absolutely no impact other than boosting the points of the player that cleared those traps. So a little bit questionable to double up on that, and surely it won't have an impact. But again, at least he has the shield, he has the shotgun, he can remodel. Not the end of the world.
Well, he hasn't placed one in Gym. So far only in Bedroom, although as I'm saying that, he may actually continue to go back over and place the Frost mat. I'm just not going to say anything. I thought maybe, guys, maybe he put it in a different spot.
Nah.
I definitely agree with you, though, that, you know, like the first time I can actually kind of understand something a little different. Why not? But they're going to be expecting it. Quick little drone through. They're fine. I highly doubt Souffle is just going to quickly vault into Gym without clearing that Frost mat. So just don't see this proving much. In saying that, Fatah actually did find a kill last time. Won't this time. Spirited with the opening frag. And advantage 7th Heaven. This is really big for the remainder of this Church Arsenal attack for 7th Heaven. They need to capitalize on this. We saw a 5 versus 4 last time. That did not work out at all. And I believe it was 7th Heaven in the opening round of the second half. They had a 5-on-4. They got the opening pick from Spirited.
Oh, don't walk into the trap. Oh my God, Ray.
Oh.
Please. My heart. I really hope that he did actually see it. I was just walking close to it, but I swear to God, that looked like he didn't know it was there. Either way, getting a little bit excited over nothing there. Ray lives for another day, or at least another round, and they can begin to remodel again that kitchen hallway. Souffle, I would presume, will begin to position himself over towards Secret Maker, though. A little bit of a wild card this round for Mercenaries, playing deep inside of Oil Pit, but thinks better of it as he is droned out, I believe, and will fall back.
Yeah, I think Souffle might have been the one to drone him out there. Good call, Guz. So Look, you got to commend Mercenaries in some way, right? They are trying something different in different avenues. Doesn't necessarily mean it's working out. I mean, it worked out well last time. Snow, though, with a really good Nitrocell kill onto ED. Pika trying to fire back, but I mean, let's be real, that was ambitious. So 4 versus 4. They do take out the Hibana. 50 seconds left in this round. Kitchen hatch still hasn't been opened.
Time is ticking down though. Seventh Heaven need to try and look to open up the triple wall, but they don't have a hard breach. They're likely going to be forced into dropping hatches, maybe rush Ash Wall in combination with a kitchen drop, but that diffuser is in the hands of the player inside of Moto. This does not bode well for Mercenaries, and they should be able to hold out, but Pika gets the pick. Is eventually traded though. Hasib and Snow will need to go big.
Yeah, they're going to drop through that Moto. Wow, Ray is going huge as well right now. Spirited gets Hasib. If it wasn't Spirited, it was going to be Ray. Seventh Heaven will indeed break this Church Arsenal defense. The first team to do so in this match. And they've now got a very, very distinct lead here on Clubhouse. Mercenaries map pick. It's 6-4. It's match point. Surely they will repeat. No. They're now going to go cash CCTV, which they lost last time. Okay, now they're going Church Arsenal. That's the second time they've done that, Guz. And just maybe Mercenaries are a little unsure as to what to do right now.
I'm praying that Fatah is going to... No.
No, not again.
I thought he was going to 6-pick off the Frost. Bro, please stop picking Frost. That is honestly a little bit frustrating. And look, that is a trope, unfortunately, that some more inexperienced teams can fall into at times, repeating strats that really just aren't working out. We're seeing time and time again that same castle barricade being used downstairs, and it worked in the first round, but probably choked out the defense a little bit there on the second. And Fatah repeating the Frost pick, and it looks like he's doing the exact same route. He's going to go above, create the rotates, place down those Frost mats in the exact same spots, despite Seventh Heaven already seeing it twice. And I know I'm bashing him a little bit here and nitpicking a little bit, but it's small mistakes like this in playoffs at this level that are going to cost you. You can get away with this in the South Asian National Open quals, maybe even the closed quals, but not in the APAC playoffs. It's just not going to work. That repetition will be read into.
I mean, look, the one thing is it does give intel, depending on how Fatah wants to play this. Now, at least this is something a little bit different. Yes. This is fine. If you keep, repeating the same position, well, it's going to put 2 here. If you keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and it's the definition of madness, right? So at least something a little bit different here from Fatah. Very different from Fatah, in fact. Very
questionable.
Very questionable. I have never seen this, Guz. I don't know if you have.
I definitely haven't put a Frost mat there, but what do I know? I've never played
the
Frost
logistics hatch one's a bit different, but...
Well, the thing is, if you place it right underneath the hatch, sometimes the debris, once you open the hatch, can actually cover those mats. So I really do like double down there, and it could potentially catch a player off guard, right? So Pika opens the hatch, and the debris does cover it. He might not see them on the drone. It can depend.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does see them. So there you go. That entire plan has been unraveled pretty quickly.
That was pretty easy, yeah. And again, I think the one thing you pointed out, at this level, right? Maybe at the lower levels, maybe if it was me, I would just drop down and be like, oh, what? Why is this here? But not at this level. They're going to do their due diligence. They're going to make sure that they clear out. Look, and I guess that is the one thing that the Frost mats are provided, though, is it just buys that little bit of time, guys. There's a small amount, but, it's something that Seventh Heaven have to clear. It's something that Seventh Heaven have to deal with. And then, of course, you've got the deployable shields. So, look, I don't want to totally bash it entirely. Pika getting the opening frag onto Maker, though, makes things, once again, pretty miserable for Mercenaries here. A match point. They get one back, though, through the man himself, Fatah, playing in stage.
Oh, can he get back to sight, though? No, Ray. Holding that cross, holding down the line here for Seventh Heaven, as they edge closer and closer towards taking map 1 in this best of 3. Mercenaries need to really hunker down here. A lot of work still to be done by both teams. With Moto Hatch being open, that's a nice line of sight. A lot of pressure being applied here by Spirited. He connects a couple of shots there onto his Seer, but it's not enough to find the pick. And that Echo will still be alive deep into this round.
1 minute left, 4 versus 3. Seventh Heaven. Are they about to take Church Arsenal for the second time in a row, along with the fact that it would win them the map here on Clubhouse? Spirited has been sensational in this matchup, both on the attack and on the defense. 40 seconds left. And you just sense that it's starting to go the way of Seventh Heaven here. Looking to find this pick, looking to flush out that player over in Church. Ray's dropped down Moto Hatch, and Hasib does finally get flushed out. MI7 is able to get one back, but they're running out of time and they're running out of players. 3 versus 2. Ray is lit up. MI7 trying to just go big here from Blue, but he's going to have to go huge to salvage this one in a 1 versus 3. The plant from ED is going to go down. MI7 not going to be able to tonight. Ray is watching the hallway, and Seventh Heaven go 1-0 in the series. We'll be heading to Chalet soon.
The strats look nice there for Mercenaries, but Seventh Heaven able to pick them apart in the end. 4 attack wins straight to close out their opponent's map pick. And this flips the series on its head. Seventh Heaven now positioned very nicely to close it out on Chalet.
They certainly do. Although, as we said before, it might be the map pick for Seventh Heaven. It might not be their map, though. Chalet is certainly a wild card map at the moment. Still very early days since coming back into the map pool. For Seventh Heaven, though, they should be very much ecstatic with this victory on Clubhouse. It